How the heck are you, everybody? I am Fastidious. Welcome to my channel. We are getting a new Immortal Codex boss again already in Watcher of Realms, the Furious Torrent. And I have to say, we have to give our flowers to the devs on this one. Immortal Codex came out, I believe, in November, end of November, beginning of December last year. And in the subsequent 4 to 5 months, they've released 6 bosses. So there's 3 bosses released upon initial release of the product of this game mode. It was Conqueror, Lord of the Styx, and Wasteland Titan, and we've doubled that in the 4 months since. I think that's really impressive. So first we had Hellfire Emperor. This is the tank codex. Then Arbiter of Frost. That is the damage over time dot damage codex. And then the Furious Torrent, which should be coming not in this rotation but the next one. However, the details are live. It was announced formally now in the global server. So if you don't know, here we are. This is my account, my Fastidious account. Hey, look, I passed 4 million BP. That is crazy. You can go, and this is what I always thought they should do. Don't hide it in events. Put it over here in raids. Obviously, we've got a very exciting thing going on in raids with Gear Aid 4 dropping today. If you're watching in the future, just ignore that. I will stream that later. Don't you worry. But if we look over here, there's a countdown to the next Immortal Codex. We can go in here and we can view all the bosses. I think this is really cool. There's a bit of story. You can see your record. Obviously, they're not updating since this update, but I presume after this, they will permanently house your official records for each stage here. But you can see there's lots of good stuff for every single boss. But if we go back, the Furious Torrent. This is what I want to discuss. This is going to be an anti-air boss. And I do believe, and you'll see this as I break it down, a lot of AoE marksmen will have an opportunity to shine. And I think a lot of us could agree they are the most neglected group of hero. I would say class of hero, but marksmen themselves are really good. But AoE marksmen basically are like, hey, you're good for the left side in Gear Aid 3. All right, on to the next one, right? You have heroes like Hex and Silas and Idril that are good in all different content. Those are the single target marksmen. And then the AoE, the multi-damage marksmen, the multi-target hitters. When we talk about Nyx and Razak and Kai. Oh, Kai. Maybe he'll be good at this. We'll have to see. But they're their left side Gear Aid 3, maybe help you progress in the campaign and early game. But aside from that, you don't ever really talk about them again or think about them again or even really use them again apart from that one niche role left side of Gear Aid 3. This should change things. This should be a really fun boss, the Furious Torrent. Here on out, we're going to call him Poseidon Boss. All right, guys, let's get into it.
Fastidious.
Fastidious.
Alrighty, friends, let's break this fool down. So I figure we can start with the story, this literally barely illegible story. I don't know who was thinking anything visually with this. Let me read it for you. For your insatiable greed, the sea will bestow upon you a cataclysmic divine punishment. The apocalyptic trial from the ocean is unleashed by Pelagios. Amidst the raging waves, Pelagios raises his trident high with endless deep-sea monsters lurking within the towering waves. Like dark, heavy clouds descending upon the earth, from this moment forth, Pelagios will renounce his identity as the supreme arbiter. Instead, he will become the embodiment of the ocean's fury, aka Poseidon, executing the will of the seas. All right, who cares? Guide time. Pretty cool. I like the story stuff they do. How is this legible? Someone in the comments tell me. Let's get in. The Furious Torrent periodically marshals an army of light-armored airborne monsters to surround and protect him. For anyone that does not know, we have 3 kinds of armor in this game. Normal armor, which is just kind of neutral, then heavy armor, which is weak to magic damage and strong against piercing damage, and then light armor, as we're going to see here, which is strong against magic damage, but weak against piercing damage, which obviously is what lots of marksmen and piercers specialize in. So, the Furious Torrent summons tridents to protect himself, which can deal massive damage to him once they are destroyed. The Furious Torrent releases Annihilating Surge periodically, absorbing existing tridents to deal damage to all heroes. The damage dealt is based on the number of tridents absorbed. If the Furious Torrent absorbs more than 10 tridents, all heroes will be instantly killed. So the way this is going to work is he's got tridents flying around him. You need to destroy them. They will do big old damage to him, as you can see. However, if you do not destroy them in time, he will absorb them, and he'll do big old damage to you. If he absorbs 10, insta-wipe the whole team. And finally, the Furious Torrent gradually increases the magic res of monsters he summons each time. So, Initially, magic damage dealing heroes might be somewhat functional, but pretty quickly it seems the magic resistance on the monsters that he continually summons is going to scale higher and higher. So really, you need at the worst normal damage, but likely tons and tons of piercing damage to take advantage of that benefit against the light armor heroes. So every Immortal Codex boss has a boss rush phase. This is the actual real part of the fight. You know, there's the little lead into the fight that doesn't matter. Then the boss rush begins. That is when points start being counted, and it matters, right? There's always an enhancement for you and your allies, and you can see during this boss rush for the Furious Torrent, that enhancement is going to be allied heroes increase their attack speed greatly. So that should help you, get out tons of damage, tons of hits, and take down those tridents and all the mobs he's going to summon. So I do think, unfortunately they don't provide us a look at the map or anything, but I do think this is somewhat easy to picture. I'm assuming your guys are going to be like in a semicircle, you underneath him, as we've seen in things like Styx and Arbiter of Frost. He's going to be in the middle. He's going to summon these tridents. I'm hoping circling around him because that'll look really cool, but he's going to keep summoning all these tridents, and then outside of the tridents, there's going to be tons of mobs. And we're going to have to take out the mobs so we can get to the tridents and destroy all the tridents in time so we can deal damage to him before he absorbs them and deals a bunch of damage to us. And in the case of absorbing 10, completely wipes our team. So that is the gist of the fight, if that's what you're looking for. There you go. Let's get into the nitty-gritty now, my favorite thing, and talk about the specifics of all his skills. So, his ultimate passive whatever, this is going to be Saltwater Regime. The Furious Torrent summons tridents around him, which can deal massive damage to him once they are destroyed. In his initial form, the Furious Torrent summons 3 tridents each time. In the boss rush phase, so the actual portion of the fight that matters, the real fight, the Furious Torrent can revive and summon 2 extra tridents each time, up to 11 tridents. So originally the part that doesn't matter, he's just always at one time summoning 3 tridents, but later on top of summoning 3 at a time, he can also revive and summon 2 extra tridents if you've destroyed some previously. This can max out at 11, so you can see how you're right on the cusp of him being able to absorb 10. You really need to stay on top of maintaining the destruction of those tridents. Now to his skills, Annihilating Surge. This is his big auto. The Furious Torrent wields the power of the ocean to absorb his tridents to deal high damage to all heroes. The more tridents absorbed, the higher the damage dealt. If the Furious Torrent absorbs more than 10 tridents, all heroes will be instantly killed. Pretty simple. It's what we saw in the general text there. If he's able to absorb his tridents, boom, right? And the more it is, the bigger the boom. When it's 10 or more, GG's in the chat, insta-wipe the whole team. That's going to be Annihilating Surge. It is on a 50-second cooldown. Typically, these Immortal Codex boss fights are 5 minutes, so he's not going to be able to get this off too often, so it does seem like we'll have ample time to destroy those tridents. That's both good news, but also makes me nervous that they're going to be pretty hard to destroy, or as you're going to see, he's going to summon mobs to surround them that you have to kill first. Maybe those are going to be in a really high quantity or really hard to kill, or both. On to the next skill now, we have got Pelagic Storm. So for any Greek heads out there, if you want to let me know in the comments, what is Pelagius? Like, where does that name come from? And what does pelagic mean? Is this something, or is this just saying the swarm of Pelagios and it's just referencing the name they gave him? I don't know. I'm curious. You can see another auto. This one's on a 40-second cooldown, and it reads: the Furious Torrent marshals an army of light armored airborne monsters to surround and protect him. Only by eliminating outer circle monsters can heroes attack the inner circle monsters and the Furious Torrent. The Furious Torrent will also summon some bonus monsters, by killing which heroes will restore certain HP and rage. They mean like a certain amount of HP and rage. Look at that, a typo or a missed word in a Moonton thing. In the boss rush phase, killing monsters grants certain points. There you go. That's how you're going to get points towards your grades, whether that be D or A or S+ or triple S, something like that, right? As you can see, Pelagios is like an onion, similar to an ogre. You got to peel back the layers. You start on the outside, hitting those mobs of the light armored monsters he has summoned. You work your way in. I presume that's where the tridents are going to be. And then if you can kill all that, you can get some direct hits, apparently, on Pelagios, on the Neptune boss, on this Poseidon boss over here. Pretty cool stuff. I really like the way this fight reads. I think this is going to be a huge step up from Arbiter of Frost. Who knows? I could be wrong, but I do have my hopes up. They're getting my hopes up. My Nyx is getting excited. Am I going to have to max skill Nyx? I don't know. But as you can see, you're going to have tons of these light armored airborne units, and you're probably going to want to kill them with a touch of AoE. On to the final skill now, King's Grace. It is a passive. The Furious Torrent gradually increases the magic resistance of monsters he summons each time. So every time he summons more monsters, they're going to have higher and higher magical resistance. It's pretty simple, guys. Don't bring magic damage. Lunaria, Hex, you guys can stay at home. Maybe you need Lunaria just because you need a Piercer Lord, I don't know. But when it comes to dealing damage with magic, aka Pelagios himself, he might not be that good in this fight. You know, it feels like a Nyx kind of fight, a Razak kind of fight, a Maul kind of fight. Could it be a Kai kind of fight? I don't know. Maybe those little spur explosion trap things he makes, maybe those are going to be put to good use. I will try Kai on this. I don't have him, but I'll go onto test server or someone's account, and I'll try out Kai to see if he's viable. We'll have to see. All in all, I'm very excited about this boss. As you can see, I do think single target marksman will still be viable. I can't see how Silas or Calypso wouldn't be good for this. I think Yovar could be amazing because he's going to spam out a million hits and can probably essentially rock in AoE. Obviously, we're still waiting for him to come to the game. But I do envision Nyx or Razak to be like total superstars for this fight. I'm very excited to see it. I'm also wondering if, you know, piercing damage units that aren't marksmen, so someone like Absin, does Absin get play here? Is it a coincidence that we're getting an April Fool's Day banner with Nyx and Absin? Maybe it isn't a joke. Maybe they're going to be rock stars for this and you're going to want to hop on it. Let me know any theory crafting you guys might be doing as you hear me go through this. Let me know in the comments. I envision, you know, a lot of our OGs we always expect to be great, like Idril and Silas are going to be amazing. I think Hex is going to be basically useless because of the resistance to magic damage. And I think Nyx and Razak are going to be tremendously good. I think Maul can get a lot of play. Could Drogo, the rare hero, be viable here if you're desperate? Maybe he could. I don't know. All in all, I am very excited for this boss, and I'm continually impressed at the rate they're putting out new content. We're getting a new boss like every other month, maybe even more rapidly than that. I think it's really cool. Immortal Codex is probably my favorite content in the game right now. Obviously, it's hyper-focused for like endgame players, but it's something to always be aspiring to for everybody. The rewards are fantastic. We want those ancient summons. This is the best way to get them. So there you have it. Pelagios, Poseidon, Neptune, the Furious Torrent himself. Guys, I hope you liked this video. If you did like it, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know any questions or comments or things you want to share in the comment section. Subscribe, and of course, share it with your mother. I'll see you in the next one.
Fastidious.